Joe and Sean, our official campaign to get Zack Snyder to direct Fantastic Four for Marvel kicks off. All that and more right after these brief messages.
Change the game just now. I have a rave.
These are the best ideas I've ever heard.
I'm saying that's the commentary that will exist.
A Barbie girl in a Barbie world.
Defiled Mickey Mouse.
Oh my god!
The Guy at the Movies podcast. But you have to see how serious you look in the waiting room when that's all going on.
Well, I'm just, I'm very in the zone. I'm very, nervous about some things. That's why I make the podcast. Oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness.
There's a bit happening. There's a bit happening.
That's why I looked so serious backstage, is because I was nervous that bit wouldn't land. For those that are merely listening, I was handed an envelope, much like the lovely Olivia Wilde.
Is this how you tell me that you guys are getting divorced?
Oh God, wait, yeah, I realize that implication is not great.
Sam, take everything.
Yeah, she gets all the rights to the podcast.
Welcome to the Guy to Movies podcast with Joe and Sam. I am Joe. Anyway, welcome to the Guy to Movies podcast with Joe and Sean. I am Joe. He is Sean. This is episode 96 of this esteemed production. Sean, how the hell are you?
Oh, man, I am doing wonderful. Just, absolutely wonderful. I'm once again still probably asleep, but the amount of TV I'm watching is stressing me out. But other than that, I'm getting there.
I have not slept well in the past few nights, and after getting back from a screening last night and writing the review and waiting for the social reaction that went live at midnight, and then realizing that I was scrolling TikTok for 2 hours and then having to wake up to drive to work this morning at 6 a.m. It's been fun. It's been a really great day. So if I pass out halfway through this pod, why.
You're going to work now? I thought you still worked home. I
do mostly, but I try to get in once or twice a week.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so we had a new employee start today, so I went over. But enough about work and that CRT that you're teaching in math class. We have two trailers that we're going to discuss tonight, and let's start off with the weird one.
Wait, I don't know which one that is.
Weird, the Al Yankovic story. Sean, your thoughts?
This was a little bit disappointing for me. I mean, after watching this trailer, I realized, this is a really tough film to make because you're making a biopic on Weird Al Yankovic. So are you making it as a complete joke? Are you making it so that it could be dead serious? Because then that could just come off as a complete joke. And so that balance just seems so odd. And, I don't get me wrong. I smiled during this trailer because there was some cool stuff. Daniel Radcliffe looks awesome. And sounds pretty good if that is him singing, which I'm just going to kind of go out on a limb and say that it probably is. But it really, that part of it sounds great. This will be interesting. Do you know how we watch this? Do we have to buy a Roku?
You do. Roku has a free streaming channel. I don't know where it streams besides Roku. I don't think you have to buy a Roku, but they have a free streaming channel, and that's what it's going to be on. And I went into a deep dive of that channel today. There's a ton of shit on there. Surprisingly, because they've just been, they acquired Quibi and all that. So they've just been slowly gathering shit on the side.
I can't wait to awkwardly watch 3-second shows then on Quibi.
Yeah. Well, I think they combined them to make them a little longer, but yeah. What's odd to me about this trailer is that I feel like they just announced yesterday that this was happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This happened well, when they announced it, he was already had behind the scenes, there was behind the scenes photos right after Daniel Radcliffe was announced. Yeah. So it seemed like they somehow kept this under wraps, and I guess they had a trailer ready to go pretty quick.
They kept it under wraps because it's Roku.
I was just thinking, after I said it, I was like, oh yeah, that's literally why they kept it on wraps, because Roku can't really afford to make announcements.
Roku, though, that streaming device is actually really good. It's gotten so much better over the years. What do you use? Amazon, right?
I use Amazon, but I literally used Roku this weekend at a Airbnb I stayed at in Saratoga.
Is that a requirement when you get an Airbnb?
That I have like some sort of streaming service.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. We were busy the entire time, but there was like moments where I just like peeked in and grabbed a little bit of Netflix just to get my dopamine hit.
Now, did you go to the back of Netflix, or I'm sorry, the back of your queue of apps or whatever you?
No, it's way worse than that. But I couldn't watch any of the stuff I like usually watch, is because it wasn't my profiles, and so it wasn't in the proper spots. And so I couldn't just like watch certain episodes of something because like I had to watch them on my services, on my streaming services.
I feel really bad for you. I hope that you survived the weekend intact. It seems like you're doing well.
I've food tastes better. Like, colors have never been brighter. And then just today I sat on the couch again and just watched 18 shows. So
did you work today?
Yeah, that too.
We're a little off the rails already. Listen, I'll watch this because I think I want to see how Daniel Radcliffe is, and Weird Al Yankovic is such a strange character that's been around forever. That who doesn't love a good biopic?
I'm just really curious about what this is gonna be. That's like my one and so that curiosity is gonna get the better of me. I'm gonna check this out because I don't know if it's gonna be a spoof. I don't know if it's gonna be a legit musical biopic, but I just really am kind of excited for it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. But the movie that I'm suddenly really excited about is our other trailer that we're going to talk about, and that's Don't Worry, Darling. And this is the Olivia Wilde directed film that is starring Florence Pugh, Harry Styles. I saw Nick Kroll in there. I didn't know he was a part of it.
Very strange casting. I saw him in 1 second of the trailer, and it's like, okay, he kind of fits in, but just knowing him, he's just much older than the rest of the people there. I don't know.
And he's probably going to say some really foul shit.
I think so. He's very clean shaven and clean cut in it. Like, but once again, it's like a split second where I saw him, but it's still like, yeah, you're older than everyone else, but
well, this is like Blast from the Past too, right? Like
I think so. Stepford Wives, Blast from the Past. I have no idea I think a little bit of Spectra at one point.
I will tell you though and you texted me this, and I responded back that I had just tweeted that same thing. This quickly moved to the top of my list for most anticipated this year because it just looks wild, and it's a psychological thriller. And you sold me there, but Florence Pugh looks like she is just pewing it up there the entire time. There's some stunning scenes, and the mystery is enough to like really grab me and get me hooked. Olivia Wilde, I think, I'm excited to see what she does with this, right? Because it's very different than Booksmart. But man, if she pulls this off, that's two really solid movies. Granted, I'm like already talking about how the movie's going to be received, but it looks beautiful, it looks wonderful, and it looks really tantalizing.
Yeah, Booksmart like weirdly had this moment where it started to like become divisive in like as the months went on, as the years went on, which still is confusing to me. I think that's a like very well done film, and one of the best like moments of that are some of the visuals in Booksmart are spectacular. And it seems like now Wilde has been given like the chance to like really run free with this. This might be like almost like a blank check movie where she was given much more of a canvas to paint on. There's also a theory I have where a director gets better when they start directing themselves in the movie. So seeing her in the movie was something where I just said, okay, wait a minute, this could mean something. I mean, Affleck, I loved Gone Baby Gone, but once he started like putting himself in the movie, that's when those movies really started to go like a lot higher in tier. Yeah. Looking at this, the mystery of it is fantastic. The beauty of it, there's several scenes where the cars are driving all at once and you don't know where it's going. There's a rebellious nature to it. There's like the obvious metaphors of housewives in a prison, but I think they're taken into a tremendously higher level. Where everything about this really does look just straight up beautiful. Just an amazing cast. Really, really looking. Oh, Chris Pine looks like he's in a role that Chris Pine was born to play. Like smarmy, like basically cult leader-ish kind of. Like it does seem like he's really good in that role.
I can't disagree with you. I have not been the biggest Chris Pine fan, aside for some of the more like the bigger IPs, essentially. But I think what was that? Oh my God, what was the one that he was just in?
All of the Knives, All the Old Knives.
I was like, All of the Knives Everywhere, Always, or something.
All at once.
Yeah, all at once. That really kind of flipped me a little bit on him because I really enjoyed what he did. and kind of how he portrayed that character. So I am looking forward to this and look forward to hopefully having another really great Olivia Wilde entry into her filmography.
Definitely.
Let's dive into what we've been watching, and I'm going to just quickly touch on a movie that I have been watching. It's an independent film, and it is called Brute Force. It stars Tyler Posey, Patricia Velasquez, a bunch of others, and the summary of it, or the tagline, is that a newly fired reporter hears that someone has been harassing vineyard workers in her hometown in California. And so she starts investigating and is drawn down a twisted tale of violence and crime. So this is really discussing a lot of the corruption that happens with the California vineyards, which when I spoke to the director, I was intrigued by this right away because I watched a Dateline or something on this years ago about how like crazy things get in California wine country. Because, it's business, essentially. They're making millions and all that.
Business, yeah.
It's absolutely cutthroat. So it's a really cool watch. It's a good mystery. But what I'm going to do is at the end of this podcast, if you're interested in listening and hearing more about it, I will tag on the interview I did with the director. It's about a 10-minute interview. So you'll get a little bit of a summary of the film itself. No real spoilers, but it will probably intrigue you to want to check it out. And it's now available everywhere, which leads me into my next film. I finally saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, and wow, what a film. This was something that I was very intrigued with going in, or intrigued by going in, and then about 45 minutes in, I was like, what the hell is going on? I was really confused, couldn't quite figure out like how I felt about it. And then at one point, I think I told you this, it just like clicked. And I felt, and I was even talking to one of the other critics last night when we were seeing Doctor Strange, that who had the same experience, that it was like, what is going on here? Why are they eating chapstick? What's with the bagel and all this shit? And then like the hot dog fingers, and there's so much shit in this that just shouldn't work the way it does. And I know that you had talked about this on a previous pod, but it was just a delightfully original film that really pulls off not only a multiversal action film, but a heartfelt multiversal action film that brought me to tears at one point because it's really layered with a lot of emotion. And Michelle Yeoh is just wonderful. I mean, how the hell has she not been like crowned the like king actor or something? She is just absolutely incredible. And this movie is one that you go into it with an open mind and you'll leave feeling better for the experience.
That's the very important thing, is you have to surrender to this movie. Like it's a tricky one if you're trying to really grab a hold of everything and trying to like really understand what's happening to it. And instead, it's just better to really, truly just, surrender to it. Then you'll get the beautiful story out of it. You'll get a lot of stuff. Now, if we analyze every single corner of this movie, we're going to find like gaps in any of like a lot of the logic.
Sure.
But that's kind of what the fun is about it, is that, oh no, this is silliness in moments. Like there's a one multiverse where they're piñatas, and it's just kind of
there's another one where they're rocks.
Rocks with googly eyes. And that's the most emotional moment of the entire thing. Oh my God.
It's funny because going into the movie, I like people had posted things about like or like images and said like no context for Everything Everywhere and All at Once. And it was like a bagel, it was hot dogs on a hand. It was rocks, it was googly eyes, like all that stuff. And it is just ridiculous, but it's great. And shout out to Jamie Lee Curtis, who looked like she was having an absolute blast in this movie, and it was so much fun to see. She's just the way she walks as that character made me lose it every time.
She decided to play a cartoon character because she knew this movie was a live action cartoon. And so she just said, you know what, I'm just going for like the most unrealistic human in the world. And it just absolutely pays off.
This is one that like I'm not usually this person because I'm not a big Criterion Collection person. This is going to the Criterion Collection.
Oh yeah.
1000%.
Definitely.
And I will buy it. The last thing I want to touch on is I don't know. I think we're allowed to talk about this, but I posted the social reaction, so I'll just repeat what I said there. Last night I saw I had a screening for the teaser trailer of Avatar: The Way of Water. You don't get much of the story in it. It's about a 1.5-minute teaser. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is in 3D. The 3D has never looked better. It looks flawless. and some of the imagery that is included in this film, mainly because of the water and some of the shots that are underwater, utilizing the water, they're breathtaking. I absolutely loved it. It gets me excited to explore what they're going to do with this story. It already looks like they're opening the world up a little bit more. And I won't get into any. There's another like plot point that is pretty evident from the trailer, but I won't get into it until people see it with the Doctor Strange film this weekend. But it is it gets me excited, and it just reminds me of how marvelous the first film was in terms of looks and the what Cameron was able to pull off. So I'm excited to see how he kind of capitalizes on that. And I love anything that has to do with water. And especially when like you're able to digitally create a water landscape the way that it seems like he's been able to do here. Oh, there's a scene. I'm gonna get like blacklisted here. There's a scene where there's like a whale under the water, and the whale's like looking up, and there's an avatar holding on to, or Navi holding on to the fin, and it's just the sun's beaming behind them, and it is an absolutely gorgeous shot. They played the trailer like 3 times so that we could see it each time. Like whatever.
That's awesome, actually. That's very cool.
Yeah, and each time I was like freeze. Like I loved it. It was so wonderful. So I can't wait. That's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, I was one like I forget if I've like said it on here, but you know, I didn't love Avatar, but I admired its visuals. Yeah. Like you can't not admire its visuals. That's crazy. But it's one of those things where it's like, all right, I'm already sold again for this though. Like with all of the filming underwater, you're bringing in Idris, you're bringing in Kate Winslet. I mean, come on, like, like I'm in. Like I'm so, and I still love Cameron. I mean, yeah. I'd love him to do like a couple of movies in between these, like you know, Rocket Terminator again, my man. They're having trouble, but like I would just love
Terminator needs a long break.
If Cameron came back and the Terminator movie was bad, I'd be beyond despondent.
Like, wasn't he attached to one recently? He wasn't a director, but he was a producer or something.
I wonder if like how much of a producer he is, or if it's like make him a producer so we can just use the Terminator name, like kind of deal. But maybe he was really involved. I don't know.
I'll check that out because I'm really interested by it now. But the last thing I'll say about it is something that slipped my mind, so I should have said it a few minutes ago. But if you've done or ridden the ride at Disney World and Avatar in Pandora in Animal Kingdom, not a lot, but there's portions of that ride that are taken from the second movie, essentially, like the landscape of the second movie, and that was something that they had teased, that like this was part of his vision for what the second movie would focus on with the water. And I remember seeing that in the ride, and number one, it's a fantastic ride, but number two, like just seeing that, I was blown away, and it delivers in this trailer. So it should be cool to see once it comes out this December.
You know what, I was laughing at that before. Now I think it might actually come out this December with the trailer coming out and everything. Yeah, I think they're actually on target. So good for them.
Also, just so you know, Terminator Dark Fate, the story was by James Cameron.
Wait a minute, but still, like that could
story by James Cameron.
Well, he's never good at stories. I mean, like he's good at like the visuals and everything, which there wouldn't be any melting Terminators then or something.
My buddy said last night. We were talking about the trailer, and he watched Doctor Strange with me, but didn't see the Avatar trailer, and I was telling him a little bit about it. He goes, I just hope that like all the metaphors aren't so on the nose. Like the one thing was literally called unobtainium. And I said, well, the good news is we solved climate change, so we don't have to worry about that anymore.
All right, so this tree is going to be their home. What do we call it? Home tree. All right, good. We'll just put that in as a working title. We'll get back to it.
I kind of appreciated it, so whatever. Sean, you have a bunch that I haven't even seen, nor the first one I haven't heard of. So hit me.
Oh, you haven't heard of Slow Horses? Oh,
is that like the latest? Did that come out after Liam Neeson's Memory? Is that his most recent one?
Well, it is. It is an old. He's British, Gary Oldman, but it is a Apple TV series starring Gary Oldman, which I believe it's also in association with BBC, and if not, it feels like it is, because it is called Slow Horses. It is basically about a group of failed FBI agents that all have to take place, or all are in this one place. I believe it's called Slough House, and then they call themselves slow horses and stuff, where it's a bunch of reject FBI agents, like can't get it together, and Gary Oldman leads them. If you looked at it like typical Gary Oldman, if you look at a picture of him, you won't recognize him in this. He's just like absolutely as ugly as you could possibly imagine. Long hair. He's disgusting. He's grotesque. And he also is a terrible leader of these people because he doesn't care anymore. He does not care. He's completely lackadaisical. And he's just really mean to all of these people. Basically, they try on their own to try to figure out their own case. There's a kidnapping case and they want to figure it out themselves. This show could have gone terrible by being just complete comedy, bumbling idiots sort of thing. It's not that. It's not. Granted, there's some humor in it, but it's not just all of them being idiots. All of these characters that are involved are true blue characters. They're they have the depth, they have emotion, they really want to do better, and they've screwed up in one way or another, or got someone mad in the wrong way. And Gary Oldman still just verbally abuses them to the point where he's don't do anything. All your job is to just sit at a desk and literally do nothing. I'm going to do the same thing over here. And Gary Oldman's unbelievable in this. He's absolutely charming. This show is great, but it doesn't work without him. There's the boss above them, the MI5 boss, I believe, or MI6 boss. I'm not sure which, but Kristen Scott Thomas, who, of course, she's the boss. Absolutely, she's amazing in every way. But this is just 6 episodes, so that's how you know it's British. But it's tight. It moves quick. It is funny. It is enjoyable. It's like the John le Carré spy novels come to life. It's really something great, and they already literally filmed season 2. So
really
at the end of the last episode, they literally had scenes for season 2, not just season 2's announced. They literally started showing the scenes for season 2, which is beyond ridiculous to me. But I really loved this one. It was great.
This is really interesting to me because I like Gary Oldman a lot, so I'm very fascinated by the premise and want to see him in this series.
If you're a fan of Gary Oldman, you should watch this show. He farts a lot because he's just a disgusting dude that doesn't care. He burps and farts all the time. He just doesn't care about anything. So I'm going to jump into the next one, which is also Apple TV. Apparently, I'm being sponsored by Apple TV Plus right now, and that is Pachinko, which is the story that starts in the 1900s and ends in the 1980s, and is several different timelines of this one family throughout. Let's see, Japan occupied Korea, then just simply they go to Japan, then they're, in the US for a little while. But this is absolutely a wondrous series. It's just truly unbelievable. They literally have in the subtitles, they have them in blue and in yellow for when they speak in Japanese and they speak in Korean. So we can understand it with the certain moments. It's there's a really tough political clash that these characters go through, but you really feel for these characters and their agency. It's just truly wonderful. Academy Award winner Yoon Young-jun is in there. So she plays the older character of the main character in the 80s. Obviously, she's wonderful. Min-ha Kim is wonderful as the central character throughout the whole thing. But it's about this young woman trying to get through going from Korea to Japan and, dealing with her family as they get older in Japan and everything like that. Now, this jumped around in timelines like crazy, which could easily annoy people if it wasn't for a common theme and a common character connection throughout every single episode. I was blown away by this. Oh my God, it was great.
I, for some reason, thought this was about something completely different. And I have no idea why. So I have nothing to contribute.
What did you think it was?
We're not getting into it.
Okay, cool. The last one, I'll just quickly I watched the last few episodes of Ozark. They closed the series up. I obviously won't say anything to spoil, just to say that they do wrap up the story nicely. I think sometimes they rush it just a little bit with a few of the characters. The characters hate each other. Next episode, they love each other. Next episode, they hate each other. A little bit too fast. There's a few things that go on a little. It's not that I want 8 more seasons. Oh, I kind of want 8 more seasons of the show, but that was the part that kind of got to me a little bit. So I'm a few tick marks down for that, but still, for sometimes how bad series finales go, this one did a very good job of wrapping everything up.
On Elvis Duran in the Morning this morning, they were joking around about Ozark because one of the guys, Garrett, apparently came in and was like, "Hey, have you watched Ozark? Here's what happened," and unloaded it. And Elvis was pissed. So they had this whole discussion about like spoiling shit and how like if you listen to the show, Danielle, who's always like bubbly, she's been on the show forever. She's funny as hell. And they were like, "You do the same thing." She's like, "But I don't mean it." And it's just like indicative of spoiler culture these days. So.
It's great because I think I like get like clips of him sometimes before I turn on like my podcast in the car, and he is just like, I just need more hours in the day to watch Ozark. And it's just like, I feel you, bro.
Yep. Let's dive into what we've been watching right after I tell you about what you can access through our Patreon. For our thoughts on Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, as well as The Bad Guys, subscribe to the Patreon pod for $2 a month for a limited time and get the exclusive spoiler pod episodes. A lot more coming up there as well. Some exciting stuff. Actually debating doing a Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness deep dive, like spoiler deep dive.
Oh,
I think that might be fun. And people can access it if they want. But we'll see. I have a lot of thoughts. But we should also mention that we're going to do a spoiler pod for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So we won't be talking about it tonight, but we'll have a separate episode where we dive all the way down into the multiverse. Oh, man. That was
a hell of a laugh, bud. It's only Tuesday. Like, what do you mean? What a week?
What a week. Lemon, it's Tuesday or whatever. All right, let's dive into what we are considering the top stories of the week, and we're going to start off with a little director shuffling. So Justin Lin has has left Fast X, and it looks like Louis Leterrier is taking his place. He did the first two Transporter films. He did Now You See Me in the summer of 2013. But a little bit more news has come out since the initial announcement that Justin Lin was leaving, and it basically seems like the script kept getting rewritten, and he wasn't really having final say and wasn't having control over what he's been working on, and it was just getting so stressful and crazy. And Vin Diesel seems to have a lot of power over those films. And if you think back a few weeks ago, I can't remember what character it is because I have not seen any of these movies. Can't remember what character it was, but he mentioned that like a certain character wasn't included in the original draft of this script, and now they're in because it just makes sense. And that lines up time-wise with this whole departure of Justin Lin and the arguments that apparently had occurred that led to him stepping away. So it's kind of wild because Justin Lin has been an architect of these movies, of the entire franchise. So the fact that like Universal is just kind of letting him go is really wild to me. But this pick of Lois Leterrier, I'm butchering his name, whatever. But he seems to be a safe choice. You know, I think they already started production. So essentially he's just coming in to see it across the finish line. And we've never seen that go wrong before, like in Justice League or anything, but
Justice League, or, you know, like several Star Wars movies where, you know, Tony Gilroy or
right.
What's the other one? Lord and Miller on the Han Solo movies.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Listen, Solo deserves justice. Solo is a good movie.
It's all right. I don't mind it. I'm okay with it. I won't lie. This really bummed me out. I mean, I'm not even like a huge Fast and Furious fan. I'm like trying to like acknowledge it as this franchise that has like kind of beaten the odds in so many ways, like in so many different like fashions, and has grown in this insane way that like I don't think they're good movies, but I respect this franchise. But Justin Lin is like the bright spot in a franchise that is like kind of insane. Like he made Fast Five. Fast Five is the best of the franchise. Like it really is something where like you have him in the cockpit, it's going to go well. And this seems like a situation where, you know, the actors weren't happy with the director. And it's one of those things where I think Vin Diesel has started to become, you have not seen these movies, but in F9, Vin Diesel is just a straight up superhero. Like he's just like, you know, yanking cement walls apart and everything like that. And he's not going to lose fights anymore. He's not going to lose anything in these because he's running the show. And it's like, all right, so you're not going to have your hero be humble at all. You're going to have your hero be like unflappable, infallible. Like it doesn't like work that way. And I mean, yeah, I'm, you know, with all due respect with Louis Leterrier, I think he'll be fine. Like, I think this is going to be fine, but Lynn likes to take the risks. Lynn likes to take a lot of style. This guy's, like you said, is going to be a safe bet. And I mean, if there's one thing you could say about the Fast and the Furious movies is they're not supposed to be safe. They're supposed to be unhinged in every way. They're supposed to be downright dangerous. And Lynn can come up with those inventive ideas and those fun action. But sorry, Louis, I think you're going to get a bland action movie with this. Maybe it'll be something too crazy, but yeah, sure. He had two monsters fight each other in The Incredible Hulk. So he's handled the nuttiness, but I don't know. I'm not too sold on this.
I have to disagree because I think that the movie's pretty much set with the exception of a couple like alterations. So I think that like we're gonna get the craziness. It's already there.
I hope so.
And they're just bringing him in to usher it across the finish line. So I'm a little confused when you said cockpit because this is about cars, I believe, right? Not planes.
Every day when I commute to work, I get in the cockpit and drive onto I-95, and I don't want to hear anything else from that.
How does that go?
Not great. Not great.
The other director news that we have to chat about is that John Watts is stepping away from the Fantastic Four film that he was announced as the director of. And this is kind of, I mean, this one makes sense to me. He essentially was like, listen, I'm tired. Like I did 3 Spider-Man films, essentially back to back, if you really think about it. Well, yeah, it was back to back. He didn't do any other movies in between. And he just wants a break from the superhero genre, and they left the door open for him to return. There's a really nice statement from Kevin Feige. So this opens the door for Zack Snyder to step in. I am starting the campaign. I think it would be wonderful. I'm waiting for the day that Marvel brings him into a film because it's going to be like the internet's going to explode. Elon Musk is going to lose Twitter. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing.
Elon Musk will buy Marvel and put Zack Snyder in for a. I mean, this announcement only feels weird because it's like, why now is he stepping back? I mean, it just seems like he was announced a fair amount of time ago, and I guess you have the right to change your mind at any time. So I'll buy that. But that was the one thing that got to me. It's just like, I mean, if you're sick of the comic book game, like, why did you even like say yes to begin with? And I don't know if I'm just digging for a conspiracy here, or it's just the dude was tired and he doesn't really want to do a comic book movie. And I'll go by that. I'll settle that. As far as the lovely Zack Snyder,
well, real quick on that,
okay,
they announced it way before Spider-Man No Way Home came out. So like the post-production and all that stuff, like I can't imagine. It probably was like hell.
Was it really that long ago?
Oh yeah, it was at the end of their Disney Investor Day. When I don't even remember when that was. Fantastic Four announced. Let's see what the Google says. It was announced December 10th, 2020.
Oh wait, No Way Home, not Far From Home. Damn it! I knew I was going to do that.
Yeah, so it was announced way back when, and like there still was the production and the creation of No Way Home to go and all that. So I really don't think there's a conspiracy here.
No,
Meanwhile, when Justin Lin left, I was like, "Give me the goods. What's the juicy news?" Like, I know something's going on.
Well, we know it's just literally because of Vin Diesel.
That dude. Just what did he do now?
Like, just everybody is gone because of him.
I cut you off about Zack Snyder.
So I like Zack Snyder when he's doing his fun original shit now. Like I like him when he's doing his. I mean, I don't think Army of the Dead was that good, but then we got like Army of Thieves, which was a blast, and
that was a lot of fun.
Although that wasn't directed by him, but regardless, he was like he was involved in it. But I like kind of want to see Zack Snyder just like I think the comic book movies have been very unkind to him, and I would rather him like go free, sir. Make Moon Rebel base and make Rebel Moon. Sailor Moon. He's making the new Sailor Moon. And I want those for him. I want him because he has such an interesting, fascinating, creative palette, and I want him to do that. Now, would I be on for the chaos of him like absolutely. And I want it to be the best Marvel movie. And I want it to be like that would be an absolutely lovely hoot. But for him, I think he's just happy with his he's making an entire space in Netflix. That
would be an absolutely lovely hoot. That's what you just said.
I am sometimes 80 years old.
You spent the weekend with your in-laws, didn't you?
I did. I absolutely did.
There it is. That would be a lovely hoot. Carry on, cheerio. All right, so we can't talk about Zack Snyder without transitioning over to talking about Priscilla Presley.
Naturally.
No, this is actually a really cool story. So we got the first trailer for the Elvis biopic that has Austin Butler and Howard Stern, I almost said. Oh my God, what is wrong with me? Anyway, Austin Butler is playing the King of Rock and Roll, Elvis himself, and we also have the wonderful Baz Luhrmann behind the film, and then we also have Tom Hanks as Colonel Parker in this film. So basically, I'll read a little bit of what she said. She said that they had a screening of the film. Warner Brothers invited them to her and the family to a screening of the film, and that the story is about Elvis and Colonel Parker's relationship. It's a true story told brilliantly and creatively that only Baz in his unique artistic way could have delivered. Austin Butler, who played Elvis, is outstanding. Halfway through the film, Jerry and I looked at each other and said, wow, bravo to him. He knew he had big shoes to fill. He was extremely nervous playing this part. I can only imagine. Tom Hanks was Colonel Parker in this film. What a character he was. Tom Hanks was Colonel Parker in this film. I think that's how it should have read. Yeah, Tom Hanks was Colonel Parker in this film.
Tom Hanks starred in this movie.
There were two sides to Colonel. Jerry and I witnessed both. The story, as we all know, does not have a happy ending, but I think you will understand a little bit more of Elvis's journey, penned by a director who put his heart and soul and many hours into this film. I actually just got chills reading that because it does excite me. I really am pumped for this now. At first, I think what everyone was taken aback by was the voice that Tom Hanks was doing, but it seems like they're pretty accurate with the story and all. And I think that's all we can ask for.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's a character, and Colonel Parker was apparently quite the character anyway, quite the devious character that had like a strange accent that you really legitimately cannot place. And but I think what I love about that is very similar to when they did the People versus OJ, and John Travolta played I can't remember his name.
The attorney.
Yeah, the attorney. I can't remember his name. That's terrible. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but plays that attorney. And Marsha Clark said, the actual Marsha Clark said, everyone was making fun of Travolta's performance as being too crazy and too nutty. And Marsha Clark's like, no, he toned it down.
Robert Shapiro.
There we go. Thank God. Robert Shapiro's like, no, he toned it down. Robert Shapiro is that kind of character. But I think with this movie, I love that the blessing is given. I think on a rant a while back, I went on a rant about subjects being involved in the making of the movie. I still stand by that rant. I love this though. I love permission. I love them looking at it first. I love them getting that blessing or getting an advanced screening. I think that is a wonderful thing to do. And I mean, hey, this it worked out nicely for them. This is something where people are even more excited. I mean, I was excited from the trailer. I know some people aren't because they're thinking musical biopic, blah, blah, blah. But if the musical biopic is good, even if it does run through those notes, if it's good and cool and fascinating like this one looks like, I'm in. I really am.
Yeah, I'm totally there with you. I think when we had talked about that before, I had said that when I'm okay with family and the subjects being involved is when it's part of overall research by a director or a filmmaker who's going to consider all sides and tell the story. And it sounds like that's what's happening here. I mean, they even acknowledge it's not a great story. Ultimately, it doesn't end well. But hey, let's see what happens when that comes out this summer, because I think it's going to be. It's Baz Luhrmann. He's pretty solid.
I mean, I know Australia is a little bit. You know what? He's actually struck out for me a little bit. Because Great Gatsby, I didn't love. Australia was a little bit strange, but I mean, you go back to that Moulin Rouge, and I'm in. I mean, so I don't but he always goes big. He always goes gigantic, and I kind of admire that. And I think that's going to be great for this kind of story. You need to just go nuts for Elvis.
RuPaul's Drag Race this past season did a musical. They always do a musical episode. They call it a rusical, and this was it was Moulin Rouge. and it actually was phenomenal. It was. They're usually oh my God, you want to stab yourself in the ear. But this was really good. And now I just keep hearing Moulin Rouge. We're off, we're going
doing
crazy
great
again today. But hey, a little bit of breaking news. Nothing crazy, but apparently Tobey Maguire almost died on Spider-Man. Quote, there was rain pouring down my nose, and then Kirsten pulls the mask up, and it's blocking my nose, so I couldn't breathe. And then she's kissing me, blocking the air passage there. So there's nowhere else to breathe.
That notice took me through a lot just now, because at first you started with Tobey Maguire almost died, and I was like, right now? And then Tobey Maguire almost died on Spider-Man. I'm like, oh wow, Spider-Man No Way Home must have been a really plagued situation, something like that. Oh no, the original Spider-Man, because it's the anniversary. That's why they're talking about it.
Additional Spider-Man news is that I think it was on James Corden's show that Andrew Garfield shared that when Tom Holland was talking about butt pads, he was not talking about Andrew Garfield. So process of elimination, that was Tobey Maguire.
I can see him having a flat butt. Yeah.
Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Let's move on to our next story here. And we want to talk a little bit about A Quiet Place and the spinoff that is coming. We got a little bit of news during CinemaCon last week. So Michael Sarnowski, who directed the acclaimed Pig, that Sean and I watched really hungover one day, is going to direct the spinoff of A Quiet Place. And this, of course, is that like little series that could. Like A Quiet Place was incredible. A Quiet Place 2, I loved. I thought it was a fantastic follow-up. And this is all from the mind of John Krasinski. And Day One's going to further expand on the concept that was introduced. It says shift the perspective beyond the Abbott family that the main series follows. Sean, I know this was your biggest take on what you wanted to see out of a spinoff.
Yeah, I mean, like if they're gonna do a spinoff, the point of it is to not include like that the Krasinski family or the Abbott family, if you will.
Krasinski family.
I mean, like, because one of the things about it that was like a little bit annoying with the reaction for this is everyone freaked out and they said, we already saw Day One. We already saw Day One, and I'm like, there's other towns. There's other places that these monsters like landed. I'm assuming they landed in other spots, or if they didn't, they're mowing them down in other spots as well. So, it's one of those situations where you could have them land in a big city. You could have them land in like every like part of the world. You could not even have main characters in this and have it be like several different aspects of it. I don't recommend that. A main character is obviously what you want, but there's a lot of ways. Day One could be a film series of like 36 films because they could there's a million things. I also don't advise that, but I'm very excited for like the fact that it's the beginning part because I loved all of A Quiet Place too, but the best part was that beginning Day One. It was just really well done, well constructed in every way. And so I want to see more of like a civilization that gets attacked by them. Because now it's like, oh yeah, there's only 3 people and like a couple of monsters running around and everyone's walking on sand. It's not as fun. It's cool in the beginning. It's the cool concept to start with. But now it's like, let's get some of the cool, really cool, civilization getting disrupted.
Well, we should also mention that there is a third Quiet Place film that will follow the Abbott family in development as well. But this one has been slated for release on September 22nd, 2023. So that's exciting. Hey, listen, if they can do something different and explore a new side of the story, I am all for it.
I still want them to do the third one. That's the bit. I want the third one with the Abbott family because that story is not done yet either. So I want them to keep going there.
Well, and especially after they really focused on the kids who stole the show in that last episode, I almost said last movie. I'm excited to see where they take it next. What I'm not excited for is this fucking comment we just got about Emperor Palpatine apparently appearing again in an upcoming Disney Plus series. Now, the only saving grace is that the quote here is, whether or not you will see my physical body, I cannot comment on, but you will certainly feel my presence. And so I'm assuming he's going to be involved in the ObiWan series somehow, and probably pop up there. But I don't want to deal with this shit. And this is my problem with Star Wars. Star Wars just continues to recycle the same stories over and over again. Now, I will be the first one to admit, I can't wait for Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm very excited for that. But they keep trying to, they tie everything back to the same original story. And look, we were just talking about an original story in A Quiet Place, right? And they're starting to spin off and explore how other people were affected. Let's explore that. Let's look how other people were affected by the events that we know so well over the course of 9 movies and books and spin-off series and spin-off movies and all that shit. I think it's time for them to branch out. I don't want to see Palpatine again. The last time we saw the guy, he ruined the fucking movie. I don't want to see them. I don't want to see him. Go away.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't love Ian McDiarmid, if you will. I think he does a great job as Palpatine. I think, like, Revenge of the Sith is obviously still an extraordinarily flawed movie, but I think that, like, he, like, kind of, like, delivers some cool, like, fun Star Wars camp in that one. Then him showing up in the 9th one was a goddamn nightmare. Like, I just never want that to occur again. And it is one of those things where he's coming back. He's definitely, it looks like he's, going to be in some form. He's going to be there in ObiWan, which unfortunately does make a little bit of sense, only because, like, they're going to be dealing with the rise of the Senate and or the new Senate, if you will, and that's going to be where they're starting ObiWan. And so, he is going to be, he's like the head honcho. He's the figurehead in that whole situation. So, maybe you just ignore him. That would be kind of cool, like, to just, like, have, like, the ObiWan. But I can see why he's there. He's not coming out of there out of nowhere, unlike with the 9th one where he came out of there literally out of nowhere, which didn't make any damn sense. But in this one, like, he's at least, like, he's overarching in where this ObiWan story is.
Yeah, listen. We first saw him 42 years ago. Okay, he died a while ago, a long time ago. We got a clone of him in that movie. We got, like, a minion of his in Snoke, which was also never really well explained. I'm tired. Like, the good news is when they kill off other characters, for the most part in Star Wars, like, Han Solo or they're dead. Luke Skywalker, they're dead. But, like, Palpatine, stop it.
I'm not saying, hey, I get it to be sick of him, and I get it, like, the fact that he came back after he dies in the 6th one. That doesn't make any damn sense. It's the worst. But this is technically like a prequel kind of situation. So I'm not saying things are right or things are wrong, or, I'm just saying, like, he's not getting pulled out of the writer's butt here. Like,
there is nothing new to explore with him. If he just pops up and is like, yo, what up? Then I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But if it's like, if we get this, if he ends up being the fucking villain of this series somehow, like a side villain or whatever, I will shit on my Apple TV remote.
He is. I mean, I don't know what he's going to be, but my conjecture is, like, he's, like, he's basically the president. That's what he is. He's the president of, like, what's going on here. He's the leader of the Senate. So, you know what? He's the leader of the Senate. Obi-Wan is an enemy of the Senate. So there's going to be, like, there's going to be some bristles. Now, they're not going to fight. I don't think. Jesus, I don't think. But, like, just, like, it's one of those things where, he'll be mentioned. He may, like, be like, there may be a scene where he makes a speech and he's like, hey, go kill that Obi guy. He was, no good and stuff like that. But I don't know. I'm just, like, spitballing. And I'm also, sick of the same, like, threads of stories and everything like you. So I'm definitely agreeing with you there. I'm just saying that, it's not outlandish to have him here. Could be annoying. It could be repetitive, but it's not, like, like, completely out there.
I am tired. I am so tired of
with
him.
You, buddy. I'm with you there.
I'm so tired of Palpatine. And I'm so tired of Star Wars not having any direction outside of Disney Plus.
Oh, God, no. Well, there's no movies anymore, which is just pretty disappointing.
Yeah, what's her name? Patty Jenkins left the Rogue Squadron film, and they just have not talked about it since.
I can't understand how they just, like, completely punted, like, all the movies. Like, they're just like, nope, no more movies at all. Ever.
It's insane. All right, let's talk about one of the saddest stories we have to bring up today. It really pains me because about 10 or 15 or 20 or 25 episodes back, any of those increments, I gave a fantastic rendition of Barbie Girl that you can hear in our opening crawl, or opening credits. And we got the sad news that the new Barbie movie that is coming, but will star Margot Robbie and apparently 17 other people, is not going to feature the iconic Aqua song Barbie Girl. This is very sad. It was confirmed to Variety. Greta Gerwig has yet to comment. I think it's rude that she hasn't commented on such a monumental story. aside from the fact there's like 3 major things happening in this world right now that we really need to talk about. 4, maybe 4. We need to talk about Ukraine. We need to talk about the attack on Roe v. Wade. We need to talk about the upcoming attack on Obergefell v. Hodges. If you don't know what they are, just Google them. And then we also need to talk about Barbie Girl not being included in the Barbie movie because it's absolutely horrible. I'm making a joke, of course. Those other things are way more serious and might start another podcast to rage about them. But this is kind of fascinating, though, because the story dives into some of the legal battles that were going on around this entire song back in the day when Mattel, the company that owns Barbie, was concerned about how the song would reflect on Barbie, on the morals of the Barbie brand. So it's whatever. It's happening. The movie's happening. The song is not. So unfortunately, Ryan Gosling, Kate McKinnon, America Ferraris, Simon. Why do I feel like that's written wrong?
Simon Rex.
Simon Liu? It's Simeon Liu, isn't it?
Yeah. SIMUNLIEU.
Simu Liu. They have Simon Liu in here. That must be an autocorrect. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. That's like what threw me off. Harry Neville Farrell and Alexandra Shipp round out the cast. Sean, major loss.
I think you were a little bit more passionate on this one than I was. You were like I got 10 texts from Joe. I was like, what did I do? And then it's just like there was a very like paragraphs long rants about the Aqua song. I mean, there's no way I can even determine what this movie is, and so I truly can't even fathom what this movie is. And therefore, it's going to be difficult for me to determine if this song belongs in there or not. Just because, like, this whole thing is insanity. The only thing I can think of is that technically the Aqua song is like you said, does not exactly fit with the Barbie Mattel situation. They could have worked together to get some advertising going, and we would have been in a better spot. And maybe this song could be used, but at this point, I just truly don't know what this movie is, and it's freaking me out. I'm so excited to see it at the same time. I can't fathom that this is happening. And so the fact that the Aqua song is in it, I mean, hey, or isn't in it, sorry. Like, all right. I'm
going to poop myself. If you Google the Barbie film, and you know how like on the side of Google, it will come up with a synopsis and stuff. The synopsis is The Adventures of Barbie and Ken, but the cast... Emma McKay, Saoirse Ronan, Ice Cube, Ariana Greenblatt, Willem Dafoe, Ray Liotta. How did that get up there? Can you imagine Willem Dafoe? That's when they should use the Aqua song. Come on, Barbie, let's go party. I don't get it. And my favorite's like Ariana Greenblatt thrown in there.
Also, let's just face it, Rhea Perlman's in this.
Oh, yeah.
Issa Rae, what is going on?
Listen, it's rivaling Oppenheimer for number of
cast
members.
This is such a cast, man. Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, my God. Anyway, last story of the night tonight is that Anna Kendrick is attached to a true crime thriller about the dating game killer. And let's talk a little bit about what that means. But first, we should recognize that we talked a lot about true crime last week when the Basic Cinephile was on. This is a film that was previously set up at Netflix, but is now, I think, going to be on the market at Cannes.
Yeah.
Cannes.
That's it. Hasn't the lineup already been announced? Or wait, hasn't Cannes already happened?
This is for sale. Like this is like being sold. Like the idea around it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not. The actual movie isn't being made. The actual movie isn't made. But this is a Blacklist script by Ian McAllister McDonald, and it's based on an episode where Cheryl Bradshaw was a bachelorette on the 70s show The Dating Game, and she chose this guy who was like really funny and handsome. Bachelor number 1, Rodney Alcala, and he ended up being a serial killer in the midst of a murder spree. So that's a wild freaking story, and probably went on to inform a lot of how they cast these shows. I would hope. Not to laugh about it, it's a terrible idea. I mean, terrible story. But he murdered 5 women and attempted to murder a 12-year-old girl, and then made it onto the show because background checks were more lax. There you go.
I mean, let's talk about the background checks being more lax, and maybe this is going to be addressed, but this guy is not exactly into like covert. I mean, granted, I know he's not probably of sound mind, but he's not exactly into covert actions at all, right? Because it's just like, hey, I know how to not get caught. I'll just go onto an extremely popular TV show, and then when she turns up missing after that, I don't know.
I mean, you didn't, but think about it. You didn't have Google or anything back then. Like, it was the TV, and that was it. Like
you can imagine the detectives being like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
just a guy.
Yeah. I mean, and everyone had the same haircut, so it was the 70s, and everyone was on shrooms. But
there's flowers in the background there. No, that's just the set.
I gotta say though, with Anna Kendrick attached, I automatically think of like a more comedic take on it. But I think that the reason why she makes sense is because it is a strange story, right? Like a woman on a dating game show, picking a serial killer essentially. Like there is a little bit of a fantastical element to that, even though it's grounded in a true story. So I'm up for this. I can't wait to see it.
Oh yeah, and I wonder, I'm assuming she'll have a pretty large role if it's going to be Anna Kendrick, and they're already slotting her to be involved, even though she will most likely be a victim. I'm assuming.
No, she'll probably be she'll probably be the main woman. The main
woman who I think. I mean, hey, spoilers now for the real world, but ends up being a victim. I'm unfortunately assuming, but then are we gonna who's gonna be the the actual serial killer? Is he gonna have a large role in this? Is she going to have the larger role in this? I mean, I assume if they're getting Kendrick involved, she'll have a larger role, but it'll be interesting to see how they balance that out.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I want to dive into this a little bit more because I do love true crime, but I wonder if he gave an account of everything that happened after the show, and I could see them doing something where it's splicing the show itself and what happened on the show with then what happened afterwards. You know what I mean? Based on his telling of it, or other stories that they may have from friends of Barbara's, I believe her name was.
They can play a lot with audience expectation because we'll know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so they could make this even more suspenseful, put a pit in the stomach at the exact moment I got scared out of my mind.
My dog has been ready to bark for the past hour. So he's staring at me right now. I don't know why. The goose must have gone by. There's these 2 geese that live outside the apartment complex. They're always just walking by. Is Olivia, are you being served again?
No, that's just our door just kind of opens on its own sometimes, so that I could believe in ghosts.
You probably do have a ghost. That is an older house.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive into rants and raves. And Sean, given what I know you're going to talk about, I'm going to actually let you take this away, and then I'll jump in.
Yeah. So obviously there's some, you already sort of mentioned it. Some pretty crappy things in the news going on right now, and one of them is about the most likely upcoming repeal of Roe v. Wade. And so I was going to go on a rant on that, but I'm going to try to turn this into something else, and I'm going to do a rave for several different movies or shows. Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, Unpregnant, Plan B, BoJack Horseman. There's an episode of BoJack Horseman, and there's an episode of Shrill, and there could be many others. Movies and shows that don't demonize abortion. They don't glorify it either, because it's a very difficult thing to do. It's a very difficult thing to decide to do, but they normalize it instead. And they also don't make this into the black and white issue that it's often made into be, which kind of upsets me because nothing should be made into a black and white issue. I don't want to go on a soapbox on this, and mainly it's because I'm a guy. And I don't really have a right to really say anything on this matter. I think that truly only women have a right to say anything on this matter. And so what I suggest for the gentlemen out there is to watch some of these movies and some of these TV shows that have these kind of things and see a different perspective. And see where it's not easy, or where it's not because of getting out of responsibility, as some people sometimes color it, where there's a lot more to these decisions when they're made. And I think about my female relatives, some pro-life, some pro-choice. And I just say to myself, like, you know, they're the ones that have that right to make that decision. They're the ones that have the right to make that declaration. Now, I won't agree with some of them, obviously, but they're the ones that, you know, I will give them the right to talk to about that or to have that expression. And it just worries me that people aren't really opening their mind to all the different avenues and all the different complications this could go down. So once again, this is a rave. This is a rave for those movies. I'll say them again: Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. I don't know what that's streaming on, but it's streaming on something, I bet. Unpregnant is on HBO Max. Plan B is on Hulu. BoJack Horseman on Netflix, and Shrill, which is also on Hulu.
Just to clarify, because I think we will get questions about it, you said family members or friends and stuff that you disagree with are what? I think you said pro-choice, and I don't know if that's what you meant.
Well, no, I've said that some of them are pro-choice and some of them are pro-life. And
gotcha.
I'll disagree with some of them. Yeah,
gotcha. Missed that part. Sorry. Just wanted to make sure you
good call.
Were heard.
Looking out for me.
You know, I think you said it well there, and I don't want to take away from the issue at hand. And I think that it is something that we need to continue to watch. It's really fascinating from a legal perspective because SCOTUS has leaked in the past, SCOTUS being the Supreme Court of the United States. Do you know when SCOTUS has leaked in the past, mainly?
When?
During Roe v. Wade considerations.
There it is.
It's kind of wild. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, but elections have consequences, and here is one of them. It's just, it makes me sick, but here we are.
I'll just do one. You know, there's several different places, Planned Parenthood, and try to donate money to Planned Parenthood, especially like, you know, I'm in a blue state, so like it's like I think like our state's good, but like Planned Parenthood in Texas, Planned Parenthood in other red states, and also like, you know, ACLU. There's several other places you can like go to on this. VoteSaveAmerica.org is another place where we're going to be voting soon in the midterms. And I mean, even though this is going to be happening right now, it's just going to be better if if they continue to vote. Yeah.
And listen, blue states are blue states until they're not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why voting is extremely important. And if this is there's no reason to believe that this isn't the decision that's going to come down probably in June, that Roe v. Wade is overturned. If that's true and it's not codified into law, then it's going to be left up to states to decide what to do with it. And that's where local elections matter almost more than, it's crazy. So, you know, on that note, here are the top new releases this week.
Whew, that's a tough one.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It's theaters, and a fun movie that I'll talk about. You'll see me posting about it tomorrow. Escape the Field hits limited theaters, digital, and VOD. And we want to encourage you to join our Patreon. A lot of fun content getting started on there. We have a couple patrons that have joined, and we are really getting into a groove to kickstart that excitement. So currently there is a special going on to join for $2 a month. We encourage you to do so. The link is in the bio below. Of course, as we mentioned earlier, there will be 2 new spoiler pods, one for The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent and one for The Bad Guys, the animated film that just came out that actually was really good. That will be they'll be dropping this week. And also, as I mentioned earlier, an interview with the director behind the film Brute Force will follow this pod if you're interested. So listen through the outro and then catch that interview. Otherwise, Sean, I will see you next week.
See ya.
Bye. As always, thanks for listening. You can follow both Joe and Sean on Instagram at Guy at the Movies and Math Teacher Movies. New episodes of the Guy at the Movies podcast with Joe and Sean are available every Wednesday morning, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, be on the lookout for special spoiler pods, where we dive deep into the latest film releases. If you like what you hear, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.